This is absurd. I'm being accused of animal cruelty. It's better to be accused of necrophilia. That was a quote from the today's recommended movie by me, which is The Social Network. Stay tuned later for that. But hello, I am Teddy, and this is the We Only Like Movies podcast. I'm here with the same two people.
I'm David.
And I am Frankie the Midget Pool.
There we go. So what we're starting off today with is one thing that went well this week for you guys that isn't movie related. Does anyone want to start us off?
Well, this is really related, but I released a new video, and I had a lot of fun making it, and
Yes.
I think you guys enjoyed it, which I'm happy with.
I did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a fantastic video. I would say it's actually your best video. Although I really do like the
Cornetto Trilogy.
Your last video, about the Cornetto Trilogy. I think this one is definitely the best edited. Like, you did the most with it, and you put the most work into it. I could see for sure.
And
but yeah.
Yeah, whenever I pick movies for that, it's just kind of on a whim. Like, and I just wanted to watch The Wolf of Wall Street again.
Nice,
So
yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, it's known as one of the best of the decade for sure.
It is.
It is, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Jonah Hill, man. Jonah Hill.
I actually just watched Moneyball, which Jonah Hill was fantastic in. He plays like kind of the same role, but also like a really different. Anyway, it's great performance by him. Frankie, do you have anything that went well for you this week that was like not really movie related?
I turned 19 2 days ago.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
What a guy, man.
So what'd you do for your birthday?
So I was only able to like invite two of my close friends because they haven't been going outside. So I had them over. We were pretty much just watching a bunch of high top films, Captain Midnight, Godzilla Mendoza, movies, scary stories, and a bunch of that stuff.
Godzilla Mendoza, he's great.
Godzilla Mendoza is a beast. We were watching I think they were doing the Blade trilogy, and we were just laughing at how good it was because Mendoza just rips the third one apart so good.
I love his Spider-Man game videos. Those are like his best videos.
The other ones that I do like by him are probably the DIY costumes, how he makes his costumes.
Yeah, he does cosplay as well. He's talented.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, what went well this week is I finished not finished, but I got the first draft done for my script that I hopefully should be filming sometime soon because I'm in a media class and there's a final project that we have to do. So some of my friends are thinking that we might want to do a short film. So hopefully I can use it for that, and then I'll actually get it done. But so that's kind of cool. First draft, which is cool, and I'm getting some good ideas.
How many pages is it?
Music. Sorry?
How many pages is it?
Only right now it's only just over like, I think it's just like 12. It's not much, but I still have a lot of scenes to add in, and stuff like that. And it's not very dialogue heavy. It's mostly visuals. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. There's that. We decide to do this, we do this because we want to keep the focus not as much on movies, but also just us in general, so you can get to know us a little bit more. So there hasn't really been too much new news compared to like whenever the coronavirus isn't happening, the whole pandemic when movie theaters are like actually up and running. But we did get some Oscars news, which is honestly we'll have a discussion about it, but I'm not really the biggest fan of it, especially one of them.
So the first thing is like they combined the sound mixing and sound editing together into just sound, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because they've been kind of notorious for not knowing the difference between the two. Because that's why the same movie always wins best sound editing and mixing. Yep. Almost every time.
I feel like this is really done for the normie viewers of the Oscars because most people have
who even watches
clue.
The Oscars? I don't even know who watches it anymore.
Because people are confused like what the difference is between them. And basically, if you are wondering that, because I was wondering it for the longest time, but sound editing is how you record the sounds, and then sound mixing is how you implement the sounds. So they are definitely different things. Because, like, A Quiet Place, for instance, got nominated, was it last year? No, 2 years ago. and
2019.
It got nominated for sound editing because it had some really unique sound recording. Like if you go online and look up how they made the sounds for A Quiet Place, it was really interesting. They used like a bunch of different, like they used lettuce for some reason. I have no clue. It's the weirdest stuff. But then sound mixing, they didn't get nominated because it wasn't that well implemented. So I do like them that they were separated, even though if both like, or the same movie won both categories. I still think it was just really nice to have both of them separate because I don't know, like last year, even though they should have been switched, but Ford versus Ferrari won, and then 1917 won for sound editing, I believe. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of it.
And also, they're allowing movies that were on VOD to be able to be nominated, but I think they have to already originally plan to be in theaters.
Yeah. That's honestly, it's the best decision that they could have done for something like this. If they want to keep it, honestly, if it was me, or like if I was looking in like my ideal world, I would want them just to push the Oscars and wait for those films to come out, maybe push it a year. But of course, they have to get their money. They have to get all those viewers and stuff each year. So it's just going to be weird because then if films like if you see like Dune, for instance, if it doesn't get released in December, and it's nominated for Best Picture and a bunch of sound awards and cinematography and all that, and you haven't seen it because it hasn't come out yet, you can't really root for anything, which is really weird. So it makes sense, but I'm not really a fan of it.
Yeah, I wanted to see Sonic and Invisible Man in competition.
Sonic wins Best Picture.
That was an amazing meme. What other movies? Trolls was put on there too. Anyway, that was
Onward.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we disagree about Onward. Actually, you know what? I've come down. I'd probably give it like a 3-star now. It's fine.
That's like one more point than I gave it. So
yeah. Anyway. So there's the newest news on Twitter for anything movie related because just stuff is not happening anymore. There's no new Dune reveals. There's no new Batman reveals. Nothing is just happening.
I'm looking forward to Dune, but it will probably get delayed. I think it's being split into 2 movies.
Really?
Yeah, because the guy who directed it, Denis Villeneuve, who's really a great director, amazing. He said that the world is way too complex for 2 new movies.
Wow. That
would
be
just one movie, I mean.
Really cool. Yeah, because he took like a 3-year break. He did like 4 movies in a row each year, which is insane. Like he did Prisoners one year, Sicario the next year, Arrival the next year. It's weird. And then he took like 3 years off to do this, which is crazy.
Has a big cast.
Like Jason Momoa, Rebecca Ferguson, Timothée Chalamet, David Bautista.
Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya as well. Like, just off the wall.
A lot of talented people behind it. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen the original movie, but I heard it's really bad.
Yes. Oh, it's been like glaring on Netflix, just staring at me. I'm like, I will not watch you. You look too just straight
it's
90s.
By David Lynch, who has made good works in the past,
wow,
I believe.
Wow. And I would not, because if I'm being honest, I don't think I've actually seen a David Lynch film. So
I've only seen Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
I would never want that to be my first watch for his. Yeah, that would just be awful. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on with the Oscars and just movies in general.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They gave Parasite Best Picture, so.
Yeah, yep. Oh, man. It was honestly, like, last Oscars was kind of so dry because it was so good. Because there weren't really too many problems with it. There wasn't, like, in a Bohemian Rhapsody winning Best Editing.
Oh, God, that was a good meme.
Really? When?
It's on Hulu. I'm barely like in the first 20 minutes.
I am so excited. Okay, if you can, just watch it straight through.
Yes.
It's
very entertaining. I've seen it 3 times, I think.
I've seen it probably close, I think 5 or 6 times. I've seen it too many times.
It's kind of revolutionary. I don't know what word to use because now a lot of people are open to foreign films.
Yes.
Like, I think I mentioned to you guys before, I showed it to 2 friends. They have never seen a foreign movie before, and they absolutely loved it. while they were watching it, they were like cheering because it's such a satisfying movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really fantastic. I showed it to 2 friends as well. My friend didn't like it at first. He gave it like he liked it. He gave it a 4-star, which is fine.
Okay.
I get it. But then the more and more that he's thinking about it, he's like, yeah, you know what? No, it's at least a 4.5. And I'm like, yeah, it's so good. And Frankie, I definitely think you'll like it because you're the horror guy, and it does have some horror elements in it for sure.
On Hulu, it's like horror movie recommendations. Parasite. And I'm like, oh, I've heard of this movie before. I'm gonna give this a watch.
Do you know anything about it yet?
No, I'm still like in the clear.
Good. Don't look anything up. Don't watch any trailers.
I won't.
Go in cold.
Just go in blind.
I'm just really upset that it's gonna get a U.S. remake. That's the one thing.
Okay, it's my mom was actually filming. No, wait, was it? No, okay, my mom
I think
was
it's getting a show.
Is it a show?
A miniseries on HBO.
Snowpiercer is getting a show, which is also another Bong Joon-ho film. My mom was actually working on it. It was being filmed where I live.
Ooh,
the Snowpiercer remake. It's like a show apparently, and my mom says it has really good production design, which is cool.
Do you have any inside scoops? Any secrets you can tell us?
No, not at all. I don't know if I can even release that. Maybe I'll get like fired or something like that. Anyway, no. But yeah, the Parasite remake will probably be along the same lines as the Snowpiercer
Yeah, I think
remake.
it's just gonna be a show, and like Bong Joon-ho is behind it, and I don't know if I think it's written by the guy who did The Big Short and Vice. I forgot his name. But I don't know. He doesn't really impress me.
I am on like the minority that I did like Vice, but I
didn't like it. I really disliked it.
I can understand. Yeah, because it does kind of treat the audience like idiots in a way, and they're
that's
kind of
what
like
he always does in his movies.
on the nose a lot of the time too. So anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, David, you said that you watched a movie recently that was something, and you want to do a short discussion on it, correct?
Oh yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about Death Proof.
Yes.
Kurt Russell, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Yeah, I think I know you really like it.
I don't adore it, but I still think it's one of Tarantino's most unique films, despite it being very not, how do I say it? Not like other Tarantino's work. It's
my least favorite from him. I don't think it's a horrible movie. There's definitely things to like it. Like that last car chase was
the last car chase is awesome.
A really well filmed scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought a lot of the dialogue was bad. I didn't really like the characters. And I didn't really like the structure of it.
Really? I actually I think it's a unique idea to have some characters and then exchange them for other characters. I'm going to try and stay away from spoilers as much as I can here, because we're probably going to do a full discussion on this movie one day. But, and as Frankie said, he said Kurt Russell, and Kurt Russell is really good in it. I really love that this movie focuses on the villain, like other Tarantino movies mostly focus on the hero. So this
felt
is a nice
kind of messy to me.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't give it a 5-star or even a 4.5-star, because it did feel a little messy. The reason why I liked it so much is just because how unconventional the structure was, and how I was actually quite interested throughout most of the runtime, and some of the scenes are really good too, like really well filmed and stuff like that.
I wouldn't say I was bored, but I just. I just didn't really have too much investment in the characters at all.
No, that makes sense. Absolutely. Like, I can understand how people would watch that first conversation, that first one long take conversation, which is brilliantly filmed and directed, by the way. But I can understand how people would find that to be a little too slow paced.
Yeah, but I could understand why someone would enjoy it. I see why. It's just personal preference.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, I had a fun time with it. I'm not going to give a rating now. Because I think that would be a great film to do a discussion on, maybe along with Jackie Brown or something like that.
I've seen parts of that one. I like some of it.
Yeah,
Jackie Brown. It's okay.
It is. It's okay. I think it's my least favorite Tarantino film. Has some great scenes, and Samuel Jackson is, of course, phenomenal. But again, yeah. So are we on to our recommendation for this week from me?
Yeah, you recommended a movie.
Yes, I recommended The Social Network. Now, this is a film that I have watched so many times. I honestly, I think the first time that I watched it was just before I was going over for was it Thanksgiving, I think, to my cousin's house, and my mom was like, okay, we gotta go, and I'm like, but I'm watching this. I can't just leave it. So then I finished it and I showed up late, and as much as I love my family, it was really worth it. First time I watched it, I loved it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, it was a really good movie, and I would probably give it a 4.5 then, but now it is a full 5. It is probably it's my fourth favorite
definitely
movie.
One of the best movies of the decade.
Absolutely. I think just the performances are great, the writing is fantastic, the direction from David Fincher is, of course,
I think
fantastic.
that's the main thing, is the script, and especially the dialogue. Is great.
Aaron Sorkin is one of the best.
Because this movie could have been like super boring. Like if you describe it to someone, it's just, you could just say, oh, it's about the the lawsuit about Facebook and the creation.
Or just the
so
Facebook
boring.
movie. Like, even when you just say the Facebook movie, that gives it a bad name already. And I'm not a fan of Facebook either. I recently just got Facebook, and it's horrendous. It is awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg, but it's trash.
It is.
And
I just use it for
Just boomers on there now.
I just use it for memes. That's it.
But apparently I heard whenever they announced like the Facebook movie, people reacted in the same way they did to the Emoji movie. Like, it's like, the Facebook movie, are you serious? Like, you're now just doing this for money?
Yeah.
And then it came out and it got a 95 on Metacritic, and it's won so many different Oscars.
And Mark Zuckerberg himself has said, like, not basically a lot of it is made up. But, like, I don't really care, because it's, like, one of the best screenplays ever written, I think, for a film.
Yeah, he wasn't planning on going to see it originally, but then whenever the movie came out, he decided to drag a bunch of his friends to go see it. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, it's not very accurate, but he said that they got his costume right, which is pretty funny. But there's just a lot that's behind this that is really, like, just kind of,
I really love Mark Zuckerberg's character. I think it's a really good character study.
Absolutely, yeah. And a very unique one, too, because not, a lot of times whenever we're doing a biopic of a character, it's generally, we're supposed to root for the character in a way.
Like, Mark Zuckerberg is, like, a horrible person.
He is. He's a really bad person. And while the film at the end doesn't say necessarily, oh, he's not a horrible person, he just says, yeah, no, he's done some horrible crap, but that doesn't make him a horrible person. So I think it's really, really good. And
he just uses people to get he just uses people, especially Andrew Garfield's character.
Spider-Man.
I don't really see them as friends. I just see him, like, as someone he can just use for the website, because every time they talk, like, he just begins the conversation with him asking him for something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, their dynamic is probably the best part of the whole film. And Andrew Garfield and Jesse Eisenberg have some, like, fantastic chemistry.
They do.
And I really love to see the film or the story unfold in the perspective of Mark Zuckerberg.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing I want to talk about is the editing. I think this has some of my favorite editing, like, ever. It
especially
just fits
during
together.
the hacking sequence.
Yes.
That was really well done.
It fits together almost like a puzzle. Like, once it's
finished.
Also
the soundtrack, which we haven't mentioned
Yes.
yet.
Oh, it's so underrated. It's just, it uses so many different instruments.
One of the best soundtracks ever.
Absolutely.
A lot of synth that I really enjoyed.
Absolutely. Frankie, was this your first watch?
Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of boring, because when you guys were like, oh yeah, it's the Facebook movie, where you were just like, explain this movie to someone.
See, we were right.
It's like, I looked up the director, David Fincher, and I was like, oh, so he's been involved in these projects, like Fight Club and the rest of them. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a watch, and boom, I liked it.
I think this might be my favorite movie from him.
Yeah, what's your ranking? Like, I actually just put one up on Letterboxd for my ranking.
I haven't seen all of his movies.
I haven't seen Fight Club yet.
Fight Club.
Yeah, I have not seen Fight Club, which really I'm waiting to watch it with my dad. So that should be hopefully pretty soon. And then I haven't seen Gone Girl.
I haven't seen Gone Girl either. I think he's making a new movie I think he's supposed to have a new movie this year.
Yeah.
It's about
Mank.
the screenwriter of Citizen Kane.
Mm-hmm. I actually because it was coming out this year, I recently watched Citizen Kane, just like for the movie. Not even because I just wanted to watch Citizen Kane, but because I was so excited for David Fincher's new movie. Because he's been like out of the realm of movies for the past few years because he's been doing like Mindhunter and stuff like that. Instead.
I love Mindhunter.
Yeah. Frankie, have you seen anything else from David Fincher?
No, this is the only. This might be the only first movie that I've seen, because I haven't seen Fight Club like fully. I've only seen bits and pieces every time. I'm weird when it comes to movies.
Yeah. Well, this is a great introduction. This is probably it's my favorite of his for sure. But I think it's just a really good example of how David Fincher directs. He makes these
very precise camera movements.
Yes, and very like cold and just like films with like I've heard they've been described as like cold and calculated films with like a mechanical soul. And I think that's a perfect way of describing it.
Yeah, it's like one of the best writer and director collaborations I've seen for a film.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher. If they make another movie together, I will see that ASAP. Anyway, I would pay for them to make another movie because it would just be fantastic.
Yeah, the movie isn't really about Facebook or or social media in general.
Not at all.
I think you could apply the themes to this movie, or like Mark Zuckerberg's motivations to social media. About wanting to stand out in front of a group of people and like wanting your name out there, and he does a lot of things to do that in the film.
Mm-hmm.
To stroke his ego.
Yeah.
Whenever Sean Parker breaks down how he wanted to take the girl from the captain of the football team, so he decided to found Napster instead, and that's how he took her from him. And that's kind of one of the aspects.
And also with the card, this is I'm CEO or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Just another thing to kind of put himself out there.
I think everything kind of comes together with that first scene where his girlfriend says you should be focusing on being the best you that you can, but he just kind of ignores it because he just wants to elevate himself. He wants his name in other people's mouths.
Yeah.
And throughout the story, that kind of ruins him and his friendship with other people.
Yeah. Do we want to get into spoilers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
okay.
It's been a while since this has come out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, both in the U.S. and Canada. Watch it as soon as you can. It's fantastic. There's really no reason why you shouldn't watch it, besides it's a Facebook movie. So just kind of leave that out of the question and go into it.
Or besides the fact that Mark Zuckerberg is actually a lizard person.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Honestly, I could see, like... Michael Cera, I could honestly see as like a Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I feel like he has that like droopy face and just really he couldn't play the part at all. But anyway, yeah.
Maybe like if he was trying to make fun of Mark Zuckerberg, he could do a good job.
Oh yeah, a comedy sketch with Michael Cera against Mark Zuckerberg. I would pay to. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah, but I think this is Jesse Eisenberg's best performance.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes. I love Jesse Eisenberg. Almost everything he's in is fantastic, or like at least his performance is fantastic. He just has this really great way of spewing dialogue, and apparently he has actually OCD. So he said that it was kind of hard to like play a character that does struggle sort of in the same way. So yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah, and going to spoilers, I think that scene towards the end, wherever Eduardo realizes that Mark Zuckerberg has kind of screwed him out of a company is one of the most heartbreaking scenes I've seen in a long, long time. Every time I watch it, I get weepy.
Because he kind of starts to see through it. Like, he starts to see, that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't even really see him as a friend, but as just a pawn to make Facebook.
Yeah.
Because, like I said earlier, like, every scene, like, with them just starts with him asking for something.
Yeah. It's just... It really just... The movie sucks in that aspect.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out of it and like, oh, you know what?
I really feel bad for Andrew Garfield's character. He gets his company taken away from him. His uncle gets killed in front of him. He just goes through a lot.
Mm-hmm. And even whenever Andrew Garfield and Jesse Eisenberg, they said that they were, it was really taxing for them to film the scene at the end.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Andrew Garfield performances.
I think it's fantastic. People really, because even this Amazing Spider-Man movies aren't great. They're pretty horrendous at times. But I feel like people don't give enough credit to Andrew Garfield because of those movies. They say, "Oh, Andrew Garfield sucks because he's such a horrible actor." When in actuality, he's a fantastic actor.
Also, Justin Timberlake is very good in this movie. He
really
fits
good.
His character.
Like the way that he says lines is like so perfect to his character. He nailed it, and I'm like, okay, well, never thought.
Yeah, he's really entertaining to watch, and I loved his dynamic with Andrew Garfield's character.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because he kind of sees through his BS.
Yeah.
Like he could tell that he's just doing an act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And eventually, like in the story, he gets caught with the cocaine, and it,
Yeah. Yeah. That was honestly at like the first time that I watched it. That was kind of a point that I had a bit of a problem with, that it rushes so fast at the ending. But I think it on the like second, third, fourth viewing, it cuts straight to the core how Mark hangs up on Sean whenever he says "Go home, Sean." I think that's really, really powerful, and it feels so cut short on purpose, and just makes you feel lost in the way that Sean and Mark are, because it's almost kind of like most people describe it as a bromance between Andrew Garfield and Jesse Eisenberg, but it's also can be described as like the side chick of Justin Timberlake and then Mark breaking both of them with just
I also love the ending as well.
Yeah,
where he he sends the friend request to his ex-girlfriend. I thought that was really well done.
That was really
That's kind of like the first thing that he does, where like he's not using somebody or he's not trying to manipulate somebody, but he's being a compassionate human being.
Yeah. And then also I think him refreshing the page over and over is probably one of the most relatable things ever.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I keep watching. I'm like, it was like the third viewing that I watched it. I'm like, oh, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, it's like a perfect screenplay. I thought it was really well done.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Aaron Sorkin even makes a cameo in this movie.
He does. Yeah. Again, that was like, it took me so long to realize that. I'm like, oh, that's Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. He also has a cameo in 30 Rock.
I haven't seen that. So
it's like he's like, you don't know who I am, but you've seen my work.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I've actually seen that scene before. What was and yeah, he also wrote other things that he's wrote is Moneyball, which I recently watched, as I said, and that has a fantastic screenplay as well. And then he also wrote Molly's Game, which I did watch, and I wasn't really a huge fan, but I still think the writing was really good. His dialogue, it just feels, as he says, he explains it like music. He always wanted to make dialogue feel like music, which is really cool.
Yeah, I heard this description of his dialogue, and it's kind of perfect. Remember how some people say about movies like their style over substance?
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot who said it, but they described it as Aaron Sorkin's dialogue kind of distracts you from the substance that's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's
really
a really
true.
good description of it.
Yeah.
And there's also subtext to his dialogue, like that first the line that Mark Zuckerberg has, like wanting to stand out in front of out of like a bunch of people who have like a high score on the SAT. That one line defines his character perfectly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
his goals and his wants.
There's really a lot of under meanings to each line, especially whenever the line comes towards the end, wherever he says like, "Sorry, my Prada's at the cleaners," along with all that, like whatever follows with that dialogue. It's really it's so layered in so many different ways, and I think people overlook it so much because it's just the Facebook movie, a lot of dialogue, but fantastic if you ask me. Yeah, it feels like the director and the writer have a passion for the greed of money, the greed of wealth, and
the greed
power
of more like attention and power.
Yeah, and attention. That's also another one too. How it can corrupt relationships.
Another thing that kind of goes with this character is like even with the Facebook site, like it says a Mark Zuckerberg Foundation or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I've continuously loved this movie for probably about 2 years now. This is kind of a movie that I watched before I was actually ever really into movies, and it's continued to be one of my favorites ever since. So does anyone have any other thoughts? Frankie, you have any other thoughts before we move on to ratings?
I think the Winklevoss twins were my favorite characters in the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That effect is so seamless.
Yeah.
It is. I
still can't believe how they did that. And especially they're played by the same actor as well. It's
actually,
so well done.
No, they were not played by the same actor. Like, okay, well, the facial movements, but the body was done by a Ralph Lauren model. And apparently both Armie Hammer and the Ralph Lauren model went to what's it called? Or they just went to like a school for like 10 months so that they could replicate the other person's body movements in the same way, which is really crazy. Insane. The amount of work.
Yeah, but it's just like a really seamless effect.
And apparently this movie actually has more CG shots than the movie Godzilla, which is crazy.
Really? Wait, which one?
The first one, I believe. Like the newish one that came out. Not Godzilla, King of Monsters. That one is like just basically a CG video game in itself. But the one that came before that, which is kind of weird. Of course, Godzilla has more CG put into it, but just because the sheer amount of work that they did stitching his head onto another body is weird.
Yeah, it's so well done. Like, yeah. I didn't even really notice when I was watching the movie.
I thought it was just two actual twins. Now that you mentioned it was
first
CG,
time I watched it, guaranteed I thought that. And I'm like, wow. Anyway, yeah, great performances, great writing, great directing. Everything is just I can't find any flaws with it.
Excellent on every level.
My rating is going to be a 5. It's my 4th favorite movie, and it'll probably stay there for quite some time. I think the next...
Yeah, I'd give it the same rating, a 5 out of 5 stars. Excellent.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorites.
5 out of 5 for sure.
Really? Nice.
Well, I think that's our first, like, universal 5 out of 10 out of 10 or whatever.
So if that convinces you, if you happen to have stuck around and you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. It's, fantastic. So that kind of ends the discussion on on The Social Network. So far, basically, I haven't been doing too much on new videos and stuff, so that's why I've been gaining subscribers, though, left and right, which is weird, and I haven't been putting out any videos. My Tissue and La La Land video are still getting a lot of reception, which is great. But I'm working on a short film, so that's kind of the big thing that I'm working on.
Yeah, I'm working on a bigger project. I'll try to have out as soon as possible.
Very cool. Yeah, you're releasing videos quite fast, so that's good for you. Frankie, what about you? Do you got anything that's coming up?
I'm still working on the game theory project. It's not going to be my best edited, because I've been, like, keeping away from it ever since, like, my whole birthday, and then I've been just seeing my parents more. I might also get a new editing software, possibly, since I have money for it. I'm just debating if I'm going to get something like Movavi or Adobe Premiere.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Adobe Premiere is great. There is so much to do with it. I've had it for about two or 3 years now, and I'm still figuring out new stuff in it that's essential to making videos. David, I believe it was your turn to recommend the next movie, correct?
Yeah, so we've been talking about, behind the scenes, doing a big trilogy video.
Yes.
So I wanted to recommend the Dark Knight trilogy.
Rachel!
Mainly The Dark Knight Rises, because I don't like that movie at all. So I think that could be an interesting discussion.
It's going to get heated.
So, the next episode's going to be the last.
So
enjoy it.
We're breaking up the band like Eduardo and Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm gonna slam Teddy's computer while he's wired in.
I'm just gonna say this. Bane is basically DC's version of Ivan Drago, but better.
Oh, you're so right. Oh, wow. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so hopefully we could have like an interesting discussion about those movies.
And also, And the next episode should be longer since we're discussing 3 movies with 3 separate ratings and a lot of discussion on that. So we're probably not going to spend too much on The Dark Knight though, because I think it's a general consensus
already said what they need to say.
Yep. So other than new projects, I think that's kind of it for us. If you want to follow us on any of our social medias to find out what's going on Letterboxd, we're both, or all of us are actually highly active on there. Whatever we watch, we usually log on there. So then you can get some ideas for new videos that we might be doing, as well as Instagram, Twitter. All of that is stuff that you should definitely follow us on. As well as questions. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, DM us, whatever you want, and hopefully you can be featured on the next episode. We'll probably start doing questions maybe probably not next episode, because next episode's going to be quite a bit longer. But maybe the episode after that, we'll start doing Q&As and stuff like that, so you can get a chance to get a shout out and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Anything else that you guys want to say, or before we go off on our way?
Well, not really, but enjoyed talking to you guys.
Absolutely.
Once again,
I will catch you guys on the flip side.
See you guys later.
Amigos.
Peace. Guys, I wasn't recording.